And when it happens, it's like ridiculous. It sounds like a car horn honking. So I probably might have to mute myself if it happens. I got a little hot tea with me here this evening to help soothe my throat. But so if I mute mid-sentence, just keep going. We've got two awesome guests coming to join us this evening. One is one of our very own members, Mr. Kevin Brown. And then our second guest is the owner, CEO, and co-founder of one of the newest Black-owned equity crowdfunding portals. So we're excited to talk to him. And we'll be highlighting one of his campaigns on November 16th. So we'll be able, on November 16th, we'll be able to walk through that particular portal and see the flow and look at the other deals that be out there. We'll spend a little bit of time on it when we go to the that 11/16 Bet on Black pitch. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Welcome. Oh, Talisha, that's right. Talisha said the 10K Project membership is a great Christmas gift. Yes, ma'am. Indeed. Especially, and I know everyone's still coming on, but especially that financial planning one, right? If we have family members that have been struggling to kind of get things together, they want to, right? So they've got the right mindset, but they've just had a hard time figuring it out on their own. Then maybe that platinum package is even, again, I'm not just saying that because the platinum package is more. I'm saying it because it's really a good gift for someone who doesn't know where to start. I can tell you when I first started deciding that I wanted to get out of debt, I went to Professor Google and there was conflicting information and it was so frustrated. And my journey through getting financially healthy was postponed because there was so much information out there. I was like, this is just too overwhelming. Forget it. I'm gonna keep spending stuff on my credit card because that made me happy, right? It wasn't until I got some help that, I was able to stay focused and have a good plan and really, do what I needed to do. So, Talisha, you're absolutely correct. Membership is a great gift.
I'll be right back. My camera isn't working. So
okay.
I made you host. And if you wanted to get started with telling the people what 10K is and all of that good stuff.
Perfect. While we're waiting for our guest, I absolutely can, Madam Curie.
Yes, thank you so much. I have to reboot.
So everyone, for those of you who are new to the 10K Project, welcome. My name is Tawana Rivers. I am the Chief Operating Officer here. You just heard the voice of our Chief Executive Officer, and she'll pop back in. Here at the 10K Project, we focus on financial education from a literacy standpoint, from a financial health standpoint. We also share with our community innovative ways to earn income, those 7 streams of income we always hear about you needing. We learn about it from an equity crowdfunding standpoint, and then also from an alternative investment standpoint. So we've built a community here of amazing people. We provide information in the form of webinars. We bring amazing professionals to the community. This evening, we're going to have 2 professionals come, and I want to make sure they're not in the group waiting for us. Oh, I see Kevin right there. Let me bring Kevin on. Kevin, I'm promoting you to panelist. We have one of our very own members, Kevin Brown, who's going to come in and talk. He has charted his own path in the equity crowdfunding space, so we're going to hear about his journey. We also have the founder of one of the newest Black-owned equity crowdfunding platforms. And so these are the kind of guests that we bring to you just to help you see what all your options are in the realm of not only equity crowdfunding, but just building wealth in general, right? Hi, Kevin. We have, for those of you who are not members, as you saw, one of our members, Talisha Shine, in the group suggested membership being one of your Christmas presents that you give to your loved ones. We have 2 membership packages. One is our gold plan. It's $100 lifetime. You pay $100 and you get access to all of the webinars. You get access to any special members only information that we have. You also get access to our Bet on Black pitches, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then you get access to any special offers that we have. And as we go into 2022, we'll have more of those special offers. Also, we have a platinum package, which was the package I was talking about a moment ago. So it gives you everything the gold gives you. However, it adds on 6 months of financial planning from a licensed financial planning company. So we partnered with Freeman Capital, which is a Black-owned financial planning company, and they have offered 6 months of financial planning for $347. So if you're already a member at that $100 level, you only pay $247 for the platinum package, right? If you're not a member, you pay $300 for that plan. I see our other guest. Let me promote him to panelist. And so you'll also get to meet Calvin Williams, who is the CEO of Freeman Capital. You'll get to meet him in January. He's coming to talk to us, to talk about financial wealth and financial health. He's going to also obviously talk about the financial planning that his company's doing for us. Hi, Pierre. Welcome.
Hello there. Well, thank you for making space for me.
Welcome.
Hi, Tawana. I think I was on mute when
hi,
you
Kevin. Yes, sir, you
earlier.
were. Good to see you again, Mr. Brown. So that's the summary of 10K Project. We've got a lot to cover this evening, and I know Cherie is trying to figure out her camera, so I'm going to go ahead and get started without her because there's a lot of good information. So as I stated, Kevin Brown is one of our members. And Kevin, I want you to tell the community a little bit about you and also your journey through equity crowdfunding and investment, period. Because you've really made you've made a name for yourself, I think, in this space. I'm one of your YouTube groupies, following you on your journey as you're meeting some of the founders that you're investing in, which I think is really cool. I also love that you're often investing in companies that I am. So when I see you with one of the founders, I'm like, okay, that may have been a good pick I had. Kevin invested in so it's kind of a little validation you've kind of given me a little bit. I know you didn't know that, but you've kind of validated some of my decisions. And then we want to talk to Pierre. Pierre is an amazing entrepreneur that has started a new equity crowdfunding platform or portal. And so excited, right? So as you can see, he's a Black man. So very excited to have another Black-owned portal. There are about 64 portals. I said about 64. There are 64 portals. So you guys, I joke all the time that I print my new list every Monday morning. And so this week, I think there's 64. And not very many are Black-owned. We know there's By the Block. We know there are a couple that are waiting in the wings to come. There's another one that only deals with accredited investors. So to have a new platform that both accredited and unaccredited investors can benefit from, and another platform where founders can come and get amazing service is also wonderful. So Pierre, I'm going to also let you talk about what you're doing, your journey through becoming a portal. As I shared with you in the community, for those who are members, they know 10K Project started, we thought we wanted to be a portal. And then as we started doing our due diligence and getting our paperwork ready for the SEC and FINRA and talking to founders and talking to investors, we realized that there was this gap in knowledge. And so we kind of had to have this honest conversation as an organization to say, is that where the need is right now? Like, we've talked to so many founders who don't even know what equity crowdfunding is. We've talked to so many investors that don't even know this is an option. Do we need to focus on that, right? And then partner with other portals or recommend other portals for them to go to, but focus on that educational piece, because we all know knowledge is power. And so I'm always elated when I see another Black-owned portal coming into the playing field, because there are not many. So with that said, Pierre, we're going to start with you. Just can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey? And you've got an amazing story of how you partnered together to make this portal happen.
No, thank you again. Greetings, everybody. Hello, Kevin. Pleasure to meet you too, brother. My name is Pierre Laveau. I'm actually based in LA. I'm one of the general managers of Seat at the Table. As nicely described, we're an equity crowdfunding portal exclusively focused on providing or facilitating capital to Black and Brown entrepreneurs. By way of background, I was a banker at Goldman Sachs in New York City for 10 years. My 9 to 5, I worked for a digital marketing agency doing due diligence on behalf of venture capital and private equity firms. So I'm looking at deal flow purely from the lens of digital marketing, but assessing value and really helping them think through return on their investment. Well, once again, through digital marketing. But nonetheless, when I was a banker in New York, I quickly realized that there's so many vibrant and viable Black and Brown businesses out there that are really having difficulty access to capital. And as a quick, point of introduction, there are 4 major verticals in terms of accessing capital. 1 is leveraging your own balance sheet, using your savings, 401k, whatever. 2 is actually going through friends and family round. If you have a robust friends network, you can do it. 3 is you go to a bank and say, hey, I have a revenue generating business, profitable business or not. The bank is going to say, that's great, but you don't own any collateral. You don't have any assets. The building that you're operating in, you don't necessarily own it. So if the loan were to fall apart, there's no source of recourse. And then 4th is venture capital. And we all know the data in terms of how hard it is to receive venture capital for everybody, but especially for Black and Brown entrepreneurs. So what we're doing is we are redefining the definition of friends and family network. So with the Jobs Act through President Obama, now non-accredited and accredited investors can invest in small businesses and be, not only can you be a customer, but you can also be an investor. So you are able to carry the flag on behalf of that entrepreneur that you are supporting, right? But you're supporting them by actually investing in them. So I was fortunate to partner with 19 other what we like to call friends and family members or seed family members, all Black and Brown attorneys, bankers, entrepreneurs themselves that have had exits, and they all contribute their time for every company that we issue. So not only do we help the company raise capital through equity crowdfunding, but we also put some love and talent around them. So if it's a CPG product, I have a general partner who has worked at L'Oreal for 15 years. So she'll offer some of her insights. We have a patent attorney that's a part of the family. Once again, all Black and Brown investors, some notable names, Baron Davis, he's on there as well on the roster, basketball player for those that are familiar. But I'm happy to be here, happy to talk about the gaps that we're filling and really to share space with all the talent on the board.
Wonderful. And our CEO, Cherie Warwick, has joined us via audio. She's having trouble with her camera this evening. So if you hear another voice, I'm like, who's that talking? It's just Cherie. So Kevin, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Kevin Brown. Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm on Oprah's couch. I've been watching you guys for the last year. I'm not quite a founding member, but love what you guys have been doing over the last year. So I want to, praise both you and Cherie, as well as Talisha and the others. So my name's Kevin Brown. I work in the tech space. So I work for one of the largest tech companies in the world. I'm not going to say the name. You can, look via LinkedIn. I've worked there for about 18 years. They were founded a year after I was born. So they've been around for, for quite some time. In the 20 years or so that I've been in tech, I've invested pretty much in the public stock market, done pretty well there. And now I'm an accredited investor. And so I've been investing in equity crowdfunding in the last 3 or 4 years. In the last couple of years or so as an accredited investor, I invest, I would say 25%-ish of my portfolio in Black businesses. So that's kind of a unique thing that's, I think, unique to me. We've heard, some others who've invested, a large amount of deals, but mine is 25% or more in Black businesses. The reason for that is, that we're 13% of the population. We get less than 1% of the venture capital. More recently, it's been getting a little bit better in the last year or so. We're underrepresented in tech. We're underrepresented in a lot of different fields we're underrepresented in, for example, film. So there's a lot of different areas that we're underrepresented. So I may make a conscious effort to invest in Black businesses, and I've invested in a lot of great Black talent in the last couple of years.
Very good. Pierre, why did you decide to focus on Black and Brown entrepreneurs when thinking about a portal? Many of the portals out there take they say they take everyone. Let's start there.
Well, that's a misnomer, right? So like what's frustrating when we're learning about the industry is that there are 64 portals. There are some more notable than others. What we're finding is that many of them are mimicking venture capital, right? So like they're onboarding names that are perfectly in line with VC. And I fully understand that community. That is my 9-to-5 community, but there are so many other amazing businesses that are out there that are doing a couple $1 million of revenue a year, that are often employing folks that look like us, right? And that are, profitable and may not always be a fit for VC. So it's interesting you brought that up, because I was actually presented that question by another Black professional. Like, why would you create equity crowdfunding portal when XYZ exists? And I'm like, the guy that brought it up, I think he went to HBCU or he was like a fraternity guy. I'm a Kappa. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And so I was surprised that he brought that up, because it's the same thought process as, why does Morehouse, Spelman, Bethune, and all these other amazing HBCUs exist, right? It's like, people begin to educate us since the beginning of time with all these other universities, but there's some amazing talent that come out of HBCUs. And when you go to an HBCU, I didn't go to an HBCU. When you go to an HBCU, it's really your place. It's a place where you feel like home, and you're cultivated and you're nourished, right? And to really speak to what you're doing at 10K, there's a bit of education and a bit of grace that's required. And I think a lot of the portals that exist aren't willing to exert that grace, right? We're helping entrepreneurs get their paperwork in order. Think about product market fit, right? So we don't expect them to have all the answers immediately, and we're willing to partner with them in the near term and the long term as well. So that was the main reason. I felt like there weren't many places for Black and Brown entrepreneurs to feel like home, and I welcome any other portals that are coming online. I think there's more than enough opportunity for everybody. There's so many Black and Brown businesses that need access to capital. So there's more than enough space. So once again, happy to be here and really share the story on behalf of the other 19 or so general partners.
I love that. And Ken says, when folks ask why Black, Ken Grandison, he's a founder with blackfacts.com. He'll be coming to pitch with us as well. But Ken says, when folks ask why Black, when the folks ask why Black question, it's time to say thanks and move on, because they don't get it. So, I asked that question because, here at the 10K, we focus on the same thing. And people often ask us, well, why don't you highlight all founders? Well, because all founders don't need our help, right? We are the village, and we have surrounded ourselves around Black founders because that's where we realize there is a deficit. And so as a portal, when we were exploring that avenue, we were asked that question. Well, why would you limit yourself to just Black and Brown entrepreneurs? There's a whole market out there. You're leaving millions of dollars on the table. Okay. And that was kind of the answer. Okay. Because I don't have to justify the fact that I want to help my people first. And so, kudos to you and your team for doing just that. And any way that 10K Project can support, we absolutely are here to support and highlight your founders. I shared with the community before you came on, we actually have one of your founders coming on November 16th, Macrobytes. And so I'm super excited to talk to them. I actually placed an order. I was very pleased with the product. And so I'll actually be eating Macrobytes all this week. so super excited.
Yeah, they delivered to me I'm based in LA. They're based in New Jersey. They delivered to me in New Jersey to California within 2 days. So they're doing great work.
Yeah, mine came really quick too. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and mine came I think about 2 days as well. And everything was packaged nicely. It was top notch. So I was so pleased.
I think you'll appreciate their story, and as the stories of all the other founders on the portal. One fact that my colleague Susan often mentions is that Black women are the fastest fastest growing group among entrepreneurs, right? If you think of every demo, and yeah, there needs to be a place to highlight Black women entrepreneurs, right? And to really cultivate that ecosystem of Black entrepreneurs. And we're really trying to allow allow us to ask from us, right? Not only, hey, not only support me based on affinity and be a customer, but I think it's my obligation, and I'll leave it at this. I think it's my obligation as a Black entrepreneur, as well as every other Black entrepreneur's obligation, to make space for our community to participate in our growth story, right? It's like, don't only just come to be a customer. I need to actually make space so that you can invest alongside of me. So I try to encourage all the entrepreneurs that we onboard, and many of those that we don't onboard, right? I just want to make sure that we are consistent and mindful of the mission to be able to provide space for everybody.
Yeah, one of the things I love, and Kevin, I'll let you jump in a moment, but one of the things I love also about the mission is that families get to see this, right? They get to see it happen in real time, right? So one of the things we're doing here at 10K is we say, when we have our Bet on Black pitches, sit down, bring the kids in the room, right? This is not an adult only affair. Bring the kids in the room so they can see what Black excellence looks like, so that they can understand it's okay to dream and nothing's far-fetched or ridiculous, right? That they can see people who even have comeback stories, right? You know, who may not have had the best or made the best decisions in the beginning of their life, but they've done something amazing towards this next phase of their life, to see that there are second chances, because the world would have you believe there are not. And that's not always the truth. And so I love that we are truly, making space for that also, right? And highlighting people who are not perfect. When we are talking to these founders and we hear some of the backstories, I'm not looking for the perfect person that has the PhD and all this other, I'm looking for a story that is triumphant, because those are the people you want running the businesses that we invest in, right? If they can overcome life at its worst, they can surely run profitable businesses. And so, those are the kind of people we want to talk to. Kevin, how do you choose the businesses? What were you going to say, Kevin? And then I want you to answer, how do you choose the businesses you invest in?
Sure. I mean, when it comes to Black businesses in general, I'm basically, now I don't only invest in Black businesses, but I believe that a portfolio that includes Black businesses will outperform other businesses. And that's a basic premise that I'm working under. Black businesses in general has been depressed for a very long time. And if given the appropriate capital, Black businesses will perform. So that's the basic premise, that I work under. And, I've invested in some of the best founders in equity crowdfunding. You've already had some of them on, Tiffany, Allende. So, it's
Tiffany is with Cura Story. Allende is with Needle. Both still have, Tiffany's campaign, I think, is closed now, but Allende's campaign is still active.
Tiffany's I think both of them are
they're both still active?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So, and they're both on, Allende's
Republic.
on Republic and Tiffany's on Republic, yeah.
So, yeah.
You weren't around yet, Pierre, we'd have sent them to you.
Yeah, no worries. I get that all the time. When people know us and they go in the direction. But once again, we're not a fit for everybody either, right? And so there have been plenty of instances where people have not been a fit for us for many given reasons, and I still have been very helpful and thoughtful with them. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on. So I'm okay with that. Hopefully everything's successful for them as well.
Very good. Cherie, do you have any questions? I know we can't see you, but I want to.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to shout out everybody in YouTube. Please put the thumbs up on the video and like and share and subscribe, all that good stuff. I also want to piggyback off of what Pierre just said. Has he talked about what's a good fit? Because I know I have some computer issues. So what's a good fit for a seat at the table? If you've already answered it, please forgive the question.
No, I didn't. So I'll add another question. So one is, I'll answer your question, what's a good fit? And then two is like, what does success look like for us? Right? Because I think they're both equally important and they're related. So we cover all companies, D2C, B2B, e-com, right? They can be pre-revenue, or revenue generating, like preferably revenue generating, but they're not, that's okay. We have a mix of everything on the board. I think in terms of equity crowdfunding in general, whether it's or any other equity crowdfunding portal, it helps when you already have a population in mind that you think can be investors, right? So with equity crowdfunding, it allows us to be able to reach out to non-accredited investors. So these are people that can cut you a check for $100, $500, or whatever the case may be. But as an entrepreneur, you can start working a list, right? And say like, hey, I have 20 people that are willing to invest $1,000. They're not accredited, so I get to use the equity crowdfunding portal exemption. That's why I'm partnering with you. But it shows thoughtfulness. So we always appreciate people that are able to like circle up, either a name or just verbally, right? But it shows that they're being intentional about it. Two, in terms of the fit, we do cover B2B, but I think that there's a lot of success when there tends to be more success when it's in like an e-commerce or a D2C company, when it's a product that I can actually fill as an everyday American, right? Or if it has a strong, like high user base. And the reason is that it allows the entrepreneur to monetize their customer base, right? So if you're a Black and brown entrepreneur, you're making pens and you're already selling thousands of pens, or maybe you're going to, and it's in everybody's hand. It allows me as a customer to continue to consume, right? But also allows me to say, hey, not only should you consume this pen because it's a flawless pen and it's backed by such and such, it was created by such and such, but also because I'm an investor as well. So that ability to really feel the product and hand it to your neighbor and to get them excited about it, I think that turns out to that provides more instances of success in terms of equity crowdfunding in general. And my other point when I was bringing up is, as a firm, what does success look like for us? The reality is we've already met it, right? So like the fact that we've already helped, a couple companies raise funds where they were able to break escrow, meaning to pull from the capital, right? To provide more inventory, to provide more, authors, to hire more talent. That is success, because the reality is for any of those companies that have met that metric so far, they would not have been able to get capital from a bank. Right. And so like I can literally close the shop tomorrow. We do not plan to close the shop tomorrow. Right. We have tons of great things in 2022, but knowing that if it weren't for us being able to fund us, right, that they wouldn't be able to be in a position to operate the way they are now. So hopefully I answered your question. D2C works particularly well. We can do B2B, but love for entrepreneurs that already have a community circled up, at least hypothetically, and for products that can often be felt and used and kind of handed off to the next person.
Perfect. So my next question is for Kevin, but before we start that, I want to, just in case people don't know what equity crowdfunding is, I kind of want to show my Snoop example. I promise I'll bring in some other examples in the future, but Tawana, you might need to make me host.
Okay. The Snoop example is a good one. So let's
so I'm actually able to share my screen here.
Okay. Yeah, until Snoop invests in something else amazing, let's keep talking about that one, because that's a good one.
Okay. All right. Well, look, if y'all like it, I love it. Y'all know how I am. So, okay. So first of all, I'm going to give a lead in here, and then I'm going to talk to Kevin because he has done an experience, 3 exits is my understanding. So you get a real life example here, but we also get to talk about, number one is when we start thinking about how the rich invest, there are certain families that belong to things called family offices. Vanessa Braxton came probably been a year and a half now, maybe even close to 2 years, and talked about her family office. You have to have 5 million in investable assets in order to even get an invitation to these, and then they go up and up. But this came across my desk, and when we look at how the rich invest, we see, first of all, in the red is real estate. So a lot of us are familiar with that. In the blue is public equities. That's public stock. You buy in Nike, Disney, things like that. But in the gray here is something called private equity. And a lot of us as Black people are not invested in private equity. And before the Jobs Act of 2012, it was very difficult for us to really build a private equity portfolio, but now we are able to do that. So in 2014, Robinhood raised money. They raised something called the Series A, which was like, I think their second round of funding. Robinhood is a financial app. It's very popular amongst young people, and Nas and Snoop got involved in it in 2014. Since that time, they have grown and grown their user base and things like that. And in July 2021, they did something called an IPO, which stands for Initial Public Offering. meaning that they put their stocks on the stock market. Now, according to the SEC documents, when Snoop invested, he got in at 19.54 cents. And on the day of the IPO, the stock price ended at $34.82. That means we don't know how much Snoop purchased, but if he purchased $20,000 worth of shares, roughly, he walked away with $3.48 million. That is the power of private equity. That's the power of private equity. And one of the things we talk about in here, a couple of things that we teach within the 10K project is there are 4 major ways that you can get your money back from a potential investment. So it could be an IPO, again, initial public offering. It could be that the company is acquired, which for a lot of investors is the favorite way of getting our funds back. It could be that the company has so much cash that they do a buyback of the shares internally. Or number 4, they could do dividend payments is what I'll call it, quarterly, annually, et cetera, in order to start giving you your money back. So with that, I want to ask Kevin, since you've had 3 successful exits, is my understanding,
Yes.
would you tell us, as somebody who's, okay, I want to say one more thing too, to the family before I bring you on. Not every company that you invest in is going to make it, is going to have this huge success story. I have to be very honest about that, which is why you want to build a portfolio of companies. In fact, according to Jason Calacanis of Angel University, as well as my angel investors that I know, out of 10 projects that you invest in, 6 will most likely fail, 3 will do okay, you might get your money back, and 1 will be that super successful business. So it's important to build a portfolio. But I want to hear from Kevin, because Kevin has had successful exits. I'm sure he's had some failures. Talk to us about your experiences with regards to this. If I got anything wrong within my explanation, let the family know that as well. And then Pierre, of course, you're able to jump in as well with either side of that, the education piece or your experiences.
Sure. Yeah. We're kind of like what you said, we're living in a great time period. Never before has regular everyday people been able to invest in private companies. And we're talking 100 years or more. So the Jobs Act has changed that. And now everyday people can invest in private companies and participate in the upside. And that's very, very important. We've been locked out of that for a very, very long time. And so now that this is available, we definitely need to participate and take part in it. And like you said, percentages of it, small percentages will be worth something and may be worth a lot. And then there's others that may not. In my case, I've had 3 exits. One of them is called Mevo. They are a streaming camera recorder. They was purchased by Logitech. I believe it was earlier this year. Another one was a retailer that went public, and they are on the public stock market now. And then the third one is actually pretty interesting. It went public in October. It's a company called Volkon. They're an electric motorcycle off-roading company, ticker symbol VLCN. What's interesting about Volkon is Volkon just went public in October. I think they closed maybe January of this year. And they raised $2.5 million. And when they went public with 3 million shares of common stock. The equity crowdfund investors took 30% of that. So 880K of those 3 million shares went to the equity crowdfund investors. That's never been done before. So it's like an amazing thing. So I want everyone to understand what's occurring here in this equity crowdfund space. You know, the stock, if you look at it now, I think it went, it IPO'd maybe at $5.50. The equity crowdfund investors got in a little bit lower than that. And today it's at $15. So, you know, you can do the math on that. We now hold an asset that is in a hot space, which is EV. We've heard of the, you know, infrastructure bill that just got passed. There's a lot of things around EV and that. So it's a high growth area. And yeah, equity crowdfund investors took 30% of that, which is you know, a big deal. So those are my 3 exit examples to date.
That's awesome. So Kevin, you know, here at the 10K Project, we always educate that this is the long game we're playing. This is not a quick flip, right? If you want to make $5 tomorrow from an investment today, this is not the community for you. So do you mind sharing with us what was the span from where you invested in those companies to the exit? What was the approximate time frame?
These 3 were unusual. They were all less than a year.
Wow.
Which is very quick.
That is very quick.
Yes.
Very impressive. Okay.
Yeah. That it's
Can you be like Nancy Pelosi, start a Reddit channel? Oh goodness. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, that normally you need the investment to mature and it takes time. But these 3 happen to be very quick, but they also weren't big multiples either, you know, but yeah, there was 3 exits. They all had a multiple. It wasn't 1,000x or 100x, but it had, you know, smaller multiples and they each were very quick. 2 of them are on the public stock market right now. So I hold the shares. And then 1 was a acquisition and I got paid out. And so, yeah, this is real. This is not something that's imaginary. It's a real thing and something that we need to definitely pay attention to.
Very good. Pierre, did you want to add anything? Oh, sorry, Sheree.
I can add, but Sheree, go ahead. I don't want to.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure, Tawana, that we reminded everyone about the Buying Businesses session tomorrow night.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes. So you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
Well, I'm going to put the link
bring it up?
In Zoom, but and in YouTube as well, all our social media. But everybody, if you want to learn how to buy a business or buy businesses in 2022 and beyond, we are having a session tomorrow night with Curtis Witt and Robin Mansell. It's going to be packed in there. It's going to be lit. So I'd suggest you get in early, but yeah. So Tawana, did you want to add to that while I put the Zoom link in?
Yeah. So I'll just say that they have so they're doing this mastermind course. So it's 8-week course. It is going to be just only 20 spots because they're very firm in the fact that they want this to be interactive between the 20 participants. So they don't want it to be too big where you don't walk away with what you need. And at the end of the 8 weeks, the group is actually going to buy a business. So it's real hands-on training and learning and all of the things. So it's not just a PowerPoint presentation. You are going to get your hands dirty, like there's homework. Curtis went over the agenda with me and I was like, okay, this is the real deal. Okay, I'm interested. So, you know, please join us tomorrow for the information session. And then if you like what you hear, you don't want to procrastinate with signing up because they only have the 20 spots. But Curtis and Robin came to us a few months back for any of you who came to their session. And that session garnered the most inquiries after a session ended. And so when they came back to us, and you guys actually joined their group, they've got a group called TAM Built, TAM Built. And you guys joined their group at astronomical numbers that they then came back and was like, we're really interested in the 10K project. We want to do more. You guys are asking us great questions. Your engagement is top notch. And so, that's what we want to do here. We want to expose you to options that allow you to grow and build wealth. And so, as with anything we promote or bring to you, do your due diligence, right? Ask every single question you can think to ask, right? Don't ever let anybody make you feel like that's not a good question. Ask your question. Make a good decision. We want you to feel comfortable in this growth journey. This is not about a money grab. This is about educating our community so that we are healthier from a financial standpoint and from a wellness standpoint, right? Because it all ties together. So we wanted to have the informational session versus just posting, sign up for this course. We wanted you to be able to have the time with Curtis and Robin to ask all the questions, how this is going to work, what's in it for you, what are the goals that they have for the end of the course, what should you walk away having learned, all of those things you want to make sure you ask tomorrow so that there are no surprises to you. And that's our commitment, is to always make sure you have a forum where you can ask questions and make sure that you're making a good decision for yourself. What were you going to add, Shereen?
Well, I just want to add that, we have talked about, we're going to bring it back to equity crowdfunding and the things that Pierre are doing at Seat at the Table. We've talked consistently about the fact that, these studies are saying that the road to Black wealth is going to be zero by 2053. And what can we do to head that off? I personally, so I'm just going to speak for myself, I don't think we should be depending on other people to help us not get there. I think we need to do that ourselves from the ground up. We continuously talk about the supply chain issues that are happening right now. It's important for us to do more. And y'all know I love my barbecue sauces and my t-shirt businesses, but it's important for us to think about how can we start buying these businesses that are going to be available, that are in the supply chain, that make very good profits. No, they're not fancy. No, it's not your fancy YouTube person or Instagram influencer, but these are cash flowing businesses that are making really good money, that if we were able to grab our share of those in the supply chain and in other industries, we could virtually cut our unemployment, especially of our young Black male youth, in half or even more. Like, this is a bigger vision than just, it is partially us investing, but it's so much bigger than that. And the effects that we can have on our community is so much bigger than that. So I see someone here asking about participating with these brothers, Robert McKenzie. Great question. We'll make sure to ask them that as well. But these are the ways, by starting to not only think about what we can start, but by thinking what we can buy as well, and leveraging equity crowdfunding in the community in order to be able to buy these assets. So
okay. Very good point, Cherie. And I'll answer Robert's question, but then I'll also, so Seat at the Table, Pierre, you want to put your link in the, it's actually seatathetable.com, but if you want to put that in the chat. And then Kevin, if you want to put your YouTube channel in the chat so that people can follow you.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and put, we're doing a webinar on Wednesday too. So it's like, it gets to know what is equity crowdfunding, how can individuals begin investing, introduction to some of our issuers as well, but just really touching base with the community more broadly and being able to answer questions. So that's on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll put both links in there as well. That's
perfect. I'd love to sign up for that myself. Cherie,
you make sorry. Yeah, so okay, I just started with you got to understand about me. I've been mostly private most of my life. So just in the last year or so, I've been coming out a little bit more. So I started a website, mathsociety.io. You can check that out. I mainly go by Math Society, like on Instagram and Twitter. Math is an area that, I use, in my everyday life. And I like to see more people in the tech space, more Blacks in the tech space, and I'm in the tech space. And so I go by Math Society. So I'm going to post that on the chat here. Thanks.
Wonderful.
I hate to jump in here, but we received such a wonderful testimonial this morning. I asked the member, Crystal, if I could share it, and she said yes. So this goes into Kevin and what he's saying. And I almost gave up on this too, but her email touched me so much this morning. And what Kevin is saying, that I'm just like, okay, I can't give up on this. Crystal says, I love what the 10K project stands for, and I'd like to give a special thanks to Cherie. I believe on the quarterly report, it was mentioned more of us need to get into IT careers. I never gave IT a thought until it was mentioned by Cherie. So I signed up for a Coursera course, and I'm dedicating time to learn several programs, coding, and programming languages. Without exposing me to that idea, I probably wouldn't have given it a thought, let alone a chance. And she says, thank you very much for the gems and support provided by our community. You know, it is important for us to begin to think about how we can get into professions that are higher wages and or entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a skill, is one of the things I've been really trying to say to people. We need to become more skillful at entrepreneurship, because I've been in business for many, many years. I will tell you, I saw clients raise 7 figures and blow through that money like nothing, right? And they were not us. They could go back and get more money for another business, right? So listen between the lines of what I'm telling you. You know, just because you have a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it either. We need to know how to manage that money, how to hire people, how to sell those things as well in order to make it. So, you know, I'm going to start, thank you, Crystal, for that. If she's listening tonight, I'm going to start mentioning those things again and interviewing people like Kevin on his IT career and other people, so that people can hear of some of the options that are available.
Yeah, that's absolutely it, right? So, you know, from a standpoint of believing in yourself, sometimes we just need to hear someone say it, right? Somewhere down the line, Crystal probably thought about getting in IT, but hearing you say it almost made it real. Like, well, maybe I couldn't do this. Maybe, you know, and it's the same thing with our entrepreneurs. You know, we need to support them. You know, I've said before, when that cousin or that nephew or that uncle comes up with the 23rd business opportunity, you know, we need to start paying attention to it, because maybe they're needing our support to make that one successful, right? Maybe the other 22 didn't work because they didn't have the right support. But we need to rally around the people in our lives, because they have wonderful ideas. They have great potential to be all the things they want to be, but sometimes they just need a little encouragement and support. So kudos to you, Crystal, for venturing out on and trying something new. And it sounds like you're being successful at it and enjoying it at the same time. And
Yeah,
always thank you to Cherie, because Cherie gives the best advice and has the best ideas. So for those of you who follow us, Cherie's always dropping gems on business ideas and everything. So she's always really good at that.
Yeah, that's definitely a great testimonial. I mean, it's actually easier to be in the tech field than it is to be an NBA player or a star rapper. So, you know, we just need to, you know, make a concerted effort. And one of the biggest excluders to these high-powered fields like tech is actually math. And so a lot of times we get, you know, excluded out of these fields because of math, just automatically. And there are things that, you know, as a community we can do to get, you know, better at math, get into these high-powered fields, because they're the fields of the that are growing, that are continuing to grow over time. And so you want to be in those fields.
There are ways to even get into tech without math. Not everything requires math. Sometimes it's strategy, you know, business strategy, things like that, product management sometimes. So, there are a lot of people, there are whole associations around these different careers, within IT as well. Sales is another big one. I'm trying to get more people into technology sales, a lot of money there, so definitely. Okay, go ahead, Tawana. I know that you potentially have more questions.
Actually, I don't have any more questions. I wanted to close up my end and then give the guys kind of final words. But I want to invite anyone who's interested, if you're not already a 10K member, I want to invite you to become a 10K member. What I didn't talk about earlier was every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we highlight a Black entrepreneur on what we call our Bet on Black pitches. It's a great opportunity for you to see what these entrepreneurs are doing and then make a determination for yourself if you want to invest. We are not a fund. We don't invest altogether. So I don't say invest in this company, everybody. You listen to the presentation and you decide if this presentation and this business fits into your portfolio, because we all have different portfolios, right? We all have different desires. We all have different goals. And so you're making that decision for you. I'm very big on doing your due diligence. So I say that all the time because I mean it. I'm vetting this much. You need to vet this much, right? Because this is your portfolio. But we'd love for you to join us this Tuesday. If you're not already a member, the10kproject.com. As I stated, we've got that gold package and that platinum package. If you are a member, I know we send the replay out and the newsletter out, but there is magic happening live, right? There's something about the live in person on Zoom, right? The live presentation, I think that has a little bit of magic to it, where you get to ask those questions in real time. You get to feel the energy of the founder in real time. Doing the replay is fine, right? We send the replay out after, we put it in the newsletter, and all of that. But there's something about coming in person. So for those of you who haven't been able to attend one in person, please try to, attend a couple a month if you can. It's always going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So even if you can just come to one or two a month, that would be great, because you're missing a treat by coming live. You really, really are. And the thing that you're missing more than anything is your input. We have not had a founder yet that we haven't helped in regards to giving them advice on something they can do to kind of make the business a little better. There's not been a founder that hasn't written to say, wait a minute, let me write that down. Like that happens every single week. And that only happens because the live audience is there, right? Giving ideas, asking questions that prompt different thoughts. And so the more of you that show up live, the better. And, again, we're always here to assist those founders and assist you on your wealth building journey as well. Kevin, you want to add anything? Just any final comments?
Final comments. I just need to give shout out to two of the companies that I'm currently lead investor on. So I'm going to take a moment to do that. One was on here earlier, Elliot Small from agemeter.com. He's basically creating what I would call, if you've heard of like Myers-Briggs or Strengths Finders by Gallup, which are personality tests, he's creating that for a functional age test. So if he can hit his mark on that and make that as big as the Myers-Briggs or the Strengths Finders, I think agemeter.com has the potential to be just like that, but for your functional age. So if you want to know how old you are functionally, you go to agemeter.com. Second one is BSP Comics, Manuel Godoy. He hasn't been on here yet, but hopefully one day.
Manuel is busy. Manuel has not, let's tell the truth, shame the devil. Manuel has not returned to one of his phone calls. I have tried to get Manuel on here, y'all, because that project is fire. I tried to get Manuel on here, but Manuel's too busy to talk to little old me.
That's so BSP Comics, we'll see about getting him on. He's super busy. He's been amazing. He's one of those people who sets a goal for himself and hits it. And you can see it that he believes in himself. And so BSP Comics, also check that out. And yeah, thank you for having me. And this, this was great. Like I said, I feel like I'm on Oprah's couch. You guys, I've been following you for, a year now and watching a lot of the videos and making comments here and there. So it's great to be here. Thanks.
Very good. You're very welcome, Kevin. Pierre?
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. One is that the example that Sheree gave, it is a testament. Kevin said, he took the words out of my mouth, like literally hopped on it. But it is a testament in terms of what you guys are doing in terms of providing education. But the way I always think about these things is that life is really just about exposure, right? And many times you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to it, right? You don't know what career paths are out there. So the calls that you are providing for this community are very helpful, because it allows them to know about companies that exist, but it also allows them to know about career paths that exist as well. I tend to over leverage LinkedIn a lot. I just kind of like to look at people's profiles to see what their backgrounds are. If there's a career field of interest, I kind of want to see what their history looks like. You can also reach out to people on LinkedIn as well too, right? So I would encourage the audience to think about that. As Kevin mentioned, equity crowdfunding, it truly is, it's disruptive, it's transformational, right? And it's innovative, and is allowing our entrepreneurs to access capital from a community that is readily available to them, but wasn't always readily available in terms of from a capital perspective, right? So we are in a sense providing exposure to investors to be able to invest in these companies, and we're providing exposure to entrepreneurs to be able to be exposed to capital. So we're very proud of that. As Tawana mentioned, investing is risky, so make sure that you please read our educational section on our website, and to make sure that when you are thinking about investing, you're doing it on your own risk on the basis of your own risk tolerance, right? What makes the most sense for you? We just encourage everybody to get up to speed on all things business and economics, right? And if we can play a part and be helpful in terms of, once again, providing exposure and providing a platform, we're happy to do so. And lastly, I just want to commend the 10K project for everything that you're doing. This is much needed. Tawana, we are limited in terms of what we can say as a portal, but I truly support you in terms of what you're doing. And when we first met, just for context, we didn't meet actually. I reached out to you, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about what you're doing and see how I could be supportive. And that literally is, my framework for life, right? Really, so it's a concept that many of my friends used to call being altruistic, right? So unselfishly aware and just being mindful of others and trying to facilitate introductions and just be kind to one another. So I try to do my part, and there'll be more introductions down the line as well. But I'm really big on, supporting us, whether it's, and I softly, or actually I strongly encourage those in the group to do the same, whether it's your dentist. My dentist is, is a Black man. My attorney is a person of color. My accountant is a person of color. All my service providers, right? And even in the realm of equity crowdfunding, Black and brown, it was important for me to reach out to all those resources and all those service providers that exist, to let them know that we exist, but also let them know that we are willing to partner. Even if they're a competitor, it doesn't matter, because I want to make sure that I'm supporting them, because in many instances, there aren't people that are asking to do business with us, right? And so just trying to make life a little bit easier for everybody. So thank you again for the time. Sorry for being long-winded, but just really appreciate everybody's efforts.
No, not long-winded at all. And I just want to add, Pierre was being modest. Pierre didn't just facilitate introductions. He introduced me to every one of his issuers personally. That was a big deal. That was a big darn deal. And I did not take that lightly. That meant everything to me. So thank you very much.
Yes.
That's what this community is, right? Us helping each other and being there for each other. That is the way we are going to be successful. We don't have to do it by ourselves. We have each other.
With that said, though, what's also, I'm quick to make introductions and just be resourceful to everybody, but at the same time, I would never sacrifice quality, right? And so I'm very discerning in terms of, who I make an introduction on behalf of, and that person's ability to follow up and execute. So I appreciate you for doing all things on your part, right, and making life a lot easier. But like, it's not, I don't want to say just support us because of our affinity, right? But it's like, support us because of the affinity connection, and because I know you're gonna do a kick-ass job, right? And so like the execution ability is really, it's paramount. And I think about the same thing for my issuers as being entrepreneurs. Like, people are investing in their product, their company, but they're also really investing in the entrepreneur's ability to execute, right? Yes. They're investing in individuals. So that was definitely clear just in terms of the work that you put out there in the community and my conversation with you. So I was happy to do so.
Very good.
So we
Thank
have two questions as well. We have one here in Zoom from Pamela asking, do you suggest a startup be on more than one equity crowdfunding platform? So Pierre, I'll let you answer that as seat at the table.
Sure.
I think
Tawana had a reaction, so
yeah,
we have to say
you can only be on one. Yeah, you can't be on
one.
multiple. You can only be listed on one at a time.
So what we're learning too, though, is that equity crowdfunding in general, whether it's seat at the table or any other portal, is not a fit for everybody. So there are other forms of crowdfunding. There are donation-based crowdfunding. I've never met the founder from the person that runs Fund Black Founders, but I've given Renee plenty of opportunities, right, in terms of like passing the ball, because many instances companies aren't ready to actually, quote unquote, sell a piece of their business and or take on debt, right? So they may make more sense to do a donation base first, then go on an equity crowdfunding portal. But to answer the question directly, you should only want to be on one. You should be on one portal. It's hard enough raising capital for one portal, right? Yes. And the quick example I like to give, and the reason why I see that, it's like throwing a party. Right. So like, every portal has space at the Ritz. We all have a ballroom. The reality is when you go to the seat at the table party, we're going to be playing the music that you enjoy, that you appreciate, right? Because it's more so tailored to our community, right? There are other portals that exist that may have more followers as of now, but their audience may not always be aligned with your mission and who you are, right? And so once again, we were really big on providing space, quality space. We're still at the Ritz, right? And pretty soon I'll be using a Black-owned hotel as an example. We're still at the Ritz, but it's really important that it feels that type of caliber, and that we're providing space for everybody. So once again, you want to be on one portal. That's the best way to go about it.
Absolutely.
With that said, there are founders who's started on one portal, then moved to another.
Yes, and moved to others. There are a lot of cases where you'll see that. And not even finishing the campaign, right? Some have stopped the campaign on one, restarted on others, and then some have started their second raise on a different portal.
Right.
I imagine we're going to see that more and more.
We've had that. Hopefully we see it more and more with seat at the table.
Absolutely.
Right? Where it's like, like they did their first round through whoever, and now it's like, now they know we exist in our approach in terms of being high touch, and they want to give us a shot. So would appreciate that opportunity too.
Yeah, I think what's going to be awesome is that the founders are going to learn that they have options, right? Right now, I think many of them are like, well, who's the biggest names, right? Because there are promises that come with being some of the big, big five. What they're finding is that the promises are not always fulfilled, and that is not the best bet. And so they'll get to make choices as they know more, right? You know more, you do better when you know better, right? That's what this space is going to be. People are going to start learning what they truly need. And from a cultural standpoint, we need different things than other people. I know we hear that, and sometimes people challenge that, but I firmly believe I know my needs are very different than other colleagues I have of different backgrounds. We need different things. Even how we support our founders here at 10K. I've had founders come and they've only got a week left in their campaign, and I'll say, that's not going to work for our community. Some of us need 3 or 4 paychecks, right, to get the disposable income that it takes to be responsible investors. And that's okay. We're unapologetic about that. Sometimes if I have to, everybody starts somewhere, and because I have disposable income, maybe a certain amount a month, it doesn't mean I have it this Friday, right? Maybe that next Friday's check is the disposable income check. And so campaigns have to have a certain amount of time left in the campaign before I let them come on 10K, because they won't experience any success if they don't give us time. We also need time to come to terms with if this is good, right? To do our due diligence, to make that determination on if this is the right company. I had one of the members send me a note the other day, and he said, I love what you guys are doing, but can you go to just 2 Tuesdays a month? He said, because it's so hard to decide what I want to invest in because they're all good, right? So that's a barrier to entry, because maybe you're waiting till the end of the month to say, what were all the pitches for the month before I decide how I invest this $1,000 that I have? Because all I have is $1,000 a month. That's what I'm budgeting, right? And I can't make that determination on the first Tuesday. I may need the 4th Tuesday to see what's going on. So we need time in the campaign in order to make those decisions. Other portals don't necessarily think about things like that, right? They don't think about the business from our perspective. And we do have different perspectives in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I did want to respond to a question on YouTube, which is a great one from Jonathan. I'd love some advice on how to create passive income. Unfortunately, I only have one source of income and I don't really know where to start. Any tips or advice? And then Jonathan's also saying, I don't have any active investments right now. So Jonathan, I do have some suggestions for you. The first thing is, I'm going to suggest, honestly, that you start off with a financial coach. And it may sound self-serving that we say that, not because Tawana and I are financial coaches. We do have our
because we're not
package.
I want you to say that differently because
we're not.
Because we're not financial advisors, right?
We're not financial advisors. We're not financial coaches, anything like that. But in my opinion, when I got started on getting my financials together, all of my financials together, it was important for me to have somebody who took a look at it with me from that 30,000 foot view and looked at everything that was happening and have us actually create a plan of attack with regards to this. Now, you can find financial coaches all over the place. We suggest Freeman Capital. And if you come to the 10kproject.com, you can get a customized financial plan for yourself for 6 months. They will do financial coaching with you. They will look through every aspect of your financials, and you really do come up with a great customized financial plan for yourself and where you want to be in the next 30, 40, 50 years. If you say, no, Cherie, I don't want that. All I want to do is take my money and find some passive things to invest in. Well, if you're a member of the 10K Project, we do have in the Knowledge Center 25 passive streams of income. It is a PDF. I will share 3 things with you. That is real estate, dividend stocks, and annuities. But there are 25 total passive streams of income. Final thing I will say about passive income is it's never totally passive. No matter what passive stream of income someone talks about, you will have to do something either to get into it, to get out of it, or to manage it. So, those are my 3 points.
That's a great point, that there's still some work to be done. I love that point.
Yes. So, but I do highly suggest, again, it's not self-serving. It really is. We've gotten some great responses and great reviews about Freeman Capital and the work that they're doing with the individuals that have taken them up on that 6-month financial coaching. And in fact, we spoke with the head of Freeman Capital, Calvin Williams. We talked to him last week, and he asked us for a meeting, and both Tawana and I came to the meeting. We're like, "You gonna stay with us, right?" Then he said, "You want me to stay, right?" And we were like, "Yes." So because it's so important for us, to get our finances together. So yeah.
There's one more question I want Pierre. I know, Pierre, you have, your whole team, right? That works with the founders. Pamela Gustava Curry is asking, essentially looks like she's asking for help valuating her company. Is that something you guys can assist her with? And I'm not sure if she's in the process of thinking about crowdfunding or anything, but is that a service you can help her with?
Yeah, so we don't do full evaluation, right? But we'll definitely opine on what makes the most sense of what I see in my 9 to 5 in terms of comparable companies that may exist. So there's definitely some coaching around, as I mentioned, like product market fit. What does that look like, right? And based on the expertise that we have within the group, and some other resources, some other partnerships that we have that literally can latch on and identify what your competitors are doing. And then so the goal would be, so the way that we price at seat at the table, maybe I should mention this, is that if you help a entrepreneur raise, let's say $100,000, most of the portals charge 7%. Seed does that as well, but 5% of that is in the form of cash. So they raise $100,000, they pay Seed at the table $5,000. The other $2,000 is in that same safe note that they've extended to their investor community. And the reason why Seed structures it that way is that they want to be long-term partners, so that if they're going to provide, I forgot the woman's name, I think it's Pamela, they're going to provide Pamela with insight. It's not for a one-off transaction. It's like, hey, how can we be of help to you to make this actual raise, but also to operate the business moving forward. So the family, see, we call it family too. Seed family, they're not official advisors. There's no equity that's obligated to those individuals, but they are loosely a sounding board for you. And so it's hard. And I'm sure you've all chatted about this in your talks. For many entrepreneurs, it's a very lonely ride, and there aren't many people to kind of get that check in with, or to really touch base with, to get a better understanding of what they're doing is actually right, or going about the right way. So we provide that sounding board for many of the companies that we work with. So hopefully that answered Pamela's question.
So wonderful. So how can Pamela get in contact with you if she's because she does say she's interested in crowdfunding? She's actually, I'm thinking.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and we'll have a conversation in the sense that if it's a good fit to even go the equity crowdfunding route, and then obviously go see it at the table. There may be other resources that are viable for her. We just want to see her win genuinely, right? So you can always email the Seed team at info@seedattetable.com. That email is always responded to quickly. One of the team members will reach out and set up time with you.
Wonderful. And as a reminder, we've got the link Pierre put in there about the Wednesday information session that they're having at Seed at the Table. I already registered while we were talking. So I'll be there. Hopefully you guys show up as well. Cherie, do you have any final words?
I do not, except to thank both Pierre and Kevin for being here and saying, don't be a stranger. Definitely come back, both of you. We will be extending you that invitation.
Very good.
Awesome. Thank you for making time for us. Thank you for the audience for bearing with us for over an hour. That's a great example in terms of you investing in yourself for the individuals that are members. So kudos to all of you for taking the time and really just learning and being exposed.
Very good. And tomorrow's pitch founder is in the field of financial literacy meets tech. So that's my little teaser for tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Bet on Black pitch. If you're not yet a member, the10kproject.com. Not too late for you to become a member and still get the link to tomorrow's pitch. If you are a member, I will see you tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening. To everyone in the community, God bless. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you guys for showing up and showing out.
Thanks. Have a good night.